everyone, and welcome back to The Open Look. My name is John Halim. As always, I am joined by Mr. David Hanna. Dave.
Halim the Dream is what I'm going to call you. You're not John the Podcast. You're Halim the Dream.
I'll roll with that. And we'll just add it to the list of nicknames. John the Podcaster, John the Genius, John the Prophet.
I don't know about the genius part. You cut that one out.
But Halim the Dream, I'll roll with that. Folks, if you have not caught part one of our season preview, stop what you're doing. Stop right now. The link is in the description below. Go and watch that first. Then come back to this video. If you haven't subscribed already, what are you doing with your life? Hit that subscribe button right below. Hit that bell icon so that you are the first to know when we drop new content. If you are following us on the podcast and you still haven't subscribed to our podcast, if you still are not having the show downloaded as soon as it drops, again, what are you doing with your life? You're just wasting away. You're losing out on something so awesome and amazing, and that is The Open Look. Dave, would you agree?
Absolutely. I mean, if you're not watching the Open Look podcast, then what are you watching? I mean, you should be watching this all the time. We just have a lot of insights, and we love to connect with our viewers. And so this is a great time for you to kind of see if we're really off the mark or you really agree with us, or maybe we're just dumb. We don't know anything. So who knows?
Yeah. And if you think that, just let us know in the comments below. Dave, I'm sorry for you to open up that can of worms, but they're probably going to be saying that about you. They usually agree with me. So, but hey.
It's too bad your name isn't Halimer, because then I would call you the Dreamer. Halimer the Dreamer. But it's just Halim the Dream. We'll just let you dream away, bro.
All right, man. Well, you know what? Let's go ahead and get into it. Part two of the season preview, we are going to talk about who we are looking forward to see, who our surprise teams are going to be, who we're going to come up with some bold predictions, and we're going to predict the award winners, who are going to win the major awards in the NBA at the end of the season. You guys are not going to want to miss that. So, Dave, why don't you go ahead and get us started? Who are you looking forward to seeing more than anyone outside of the Lakers? Because obviously you and I are big Laker fans. That's probably going to be the answer for both of us. Outside of the Lakers, who do you want to see the most?
Believe it or not, it's the team that you kind of roasted in the first segment, the Houston Rockets. So I've got a couple questions for them. Will the addition of Russell Westbrook and James Harden work? I have no idea. Will they finally call the James Harden step back a travel? Yeah, that too. Who takes the last shot during crunch time? Is it Russell Westbrook? Is it James Harden? Who's going to do it? And whoever takes it, who's going to fight after that? Can the bench that they have, can they produce? Can you name a couple of their bench guys? Probably not. Do I think, is it possible Mike D'Antoni even is able to control his roster? Or if things go really south, will he be fired mid-season? Remember, he's on the last year of his deal. They didn't even bother to do an extension for him this summer. And then, of course, are they going to be able to add some more pieces to make a solid run in the playoffs? And then, of course, the biggest question mark that everybody wants to know is Daryl Morey going to tweet about China again? That's what I'm looking forward to.
So, as I said in part one, I agree with a lot of the things that you said and some of the question marks that you brought up. I think that team is a ticking time bomb. I think Russell Westbrook has shown to be a difficult teammate in the past. James Harden has shown that too. Both of these guys are used to being the man. Mike D'Antoni, I think, is ready to just throw his arms up and give up. I wouldn't be surprised if he quit before he got fired. Daryl Morey's under a lot of fire. He's been labeled the genius of the NBA for so long, but he hasn't delivered a championship yet. I'm really waiting to see how this time bomb goes off. It is going to be an incredible soap opera to follow. But I have a more positive team that I'm looking to see. And this team they didn't do a lot in the offseason per se. They've been working over time to improve this team. And I think we're going to see the fruits of that labor here. I'm talking about the Dallas Mavericks. I'm really, really excited to see that young core of Kristaps Porzingis, who has been a monster during preseason, and Luka Doncic, who we already know from last year. The guy's only 19 years old, and he's been a pro in Europe for a while. He won Rookie of the Year last year. That team is going to be really good surrounding those two guys. They added Seth Curry for shooting and spacing. They brought in Boban, who I'm not even going to try to pronounce that last name, but you got some size and
Marjanovic.
Okay, what he said. They added some size and some rebounding with Boban. You got a healthy Tim Hardaway. He was hurt most of the year last year. Tim Hardaway Jr., that is, not the other Tim Hardaway. Some youth surrounding those guys. You got a nice mix of veterans and youth, and you got a proven coach in Rick Carlisle who can put it all together. That team is going to be a problem for some teams in the Western Conference. What do you think, Dave?
I disagree. I think they're going to be fun. I think they're going to be fun. I think you've been on the Kristaps Porzingis bandwagon for quite some time. One of the reasons why you made that really incredible prediction from last year, if anybody can recall, the New York Knicks making the playoffs. I'm surprised you weren't excited about seeing your Knicks, bro. I mean, what is this? Is this a new season? Is this a new life? What's going on here?
I'm stung. I'm hurt by Kristaps from last year. But hey, I think Kristaps is white Anthony Davis. I mean,
whoa. Is that part of your bold predictions too? Because maybe.
Well, I mean, they have a very similar game, right? They play very similar, and we've seen Kristaps in the offseason. He looks like Ivan Drago. Like he looks like he can knock out Rocky Balboa right now. I mean, if you've seen the kind of muscle he's put on in this offseason, the guy looks ready to go. I don't know why you're hating on him.
You don't like drama, because I picked a team that's full of drama, and you picked the most conservative team you can find. I mean,
what?
You've been watching,
they're going to be a fun team to watch.
Cuban that much now?
I'd like some of Mark Cuban's money. I mean, Mark, if you're watching, get in touch with me, man. Who's going to be your surprise team, Dave? Who is going to surprise everyone?
Well, I don't know if they're going to be a surprise, but it's a team that you touched on, and it's the Utah Jazz. Believe it or not, I don't think they're expected to do anything. I mean, they got a nice team, but I don't think anybody has them in the Western Conference Finals. I'm not sure if they have them in the, Western Conference semifinals, but they're going to be quite a basketball team. And you were right earlier in the first segment that when you talked about they added Michael Conley Jr. and Bojan Bogdanovic, but what you forgot to add was they've got Jeff Green, another guy that can play basketball. He's been a journeyman, but he is solid. Ed Davis, former Laker, former Brooklyn Net, former Portland Trailblazer, who rebounds, he blocks shots, he does everything you ask him to do. And then they got this other guy named Emmanuel Mudiay, who hasn't really quite lived up to the hype. But I think he might find some newfound youth and newfound everything with the Utah Jazz. By the way, they've got a very good coach in Quinn Snyder. This guy is so underrated. He is so underrated, so overlooked. It is the Utah Jazz. They're not a big market basketball team. I think they finally have the pieces to make a solid run in the Western Conference. This is a team that surprised a lot of people 2 years ago, didn't have the run that they wanted to have. Joe Ingles is no kind of, chip off, somewhere off the streets or anything. He's very, very good. And I think they possibly have the deepest bench in the league. They're going to make some noise in the Western Conference. I love the Utah Jazz. I don't think people expect them to creep up, but I think they're going to do a lot better than what's expected of them.
I have a disagreement with you, but it's not about anything you said, other than the fact that I don't think they're going to creep up on anybody. And later on, I will discuss this in our part 3, where I think they're going to end up in the West. I think everyone knows they're really good. I don't think anyone's seen those parts together, and in that sense, they may be surprising. But there's a lot of high expectation, I think, for the Utah Jazz. I think that's kind of an easy way out for you, pal, taking those guys. But hey, I won't complain any further, because my surprise team is going to tick you off, and it pains me too. What's that?
Please don't let it be the Knicks.
It's not the Knicks. It's a lot closer to home, and I'm going to say it's the Lakers. The Lakers are not going to be as good as we hope they will be.
I think this is the part of the show where everybody turns it off.
No, that they want to hear what I'm going to say. And as the season progresses, you will see that this is going to be the case. And I really hope I'm wrong. But the Lakers, as we've seen through the preseason, are absolutely horrible at defending the three-point line. They have got a lot of size, and they're going to beat people up on the boards. We saw them bully the Warriors in a couple games through the preseason. But we also saw the Brooklyn Nets light them up from three. And that's going to be a problem because LeBron doesn't play defense on the perimeter. He's very passive on the perimeter. He doesn't close guys out like he used to. You got Avery Bradley, who's going to be sticking to one guy. He can only play so many minutes, though. He is an injury-prone guy. You're looking at Kentavious Caldwell-Pope. I think he's very overrated as a defender. The way these guys are going to play, they're going to play pounding the ball in down low. They're going to beat people up on the rebounds. They're going to protect the paint. I have no doubt that they're going to probably be one of the best interior defenses in the league. But when it comes to defending that three-point line, Dave, if you watched any preseason with the Lakers, you can't deny that that's a problem. What do you think?
Well, here's how I feel about it. If a team scores 23 pointers, it comes out to 60 points. If they're going to score 60 points and they shoot all from the perimeter, I'll live and die by that. I don't mind. You've got Danny Green, who is a very good defender. Avery Bradley is a very good defender. Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, yes, he's a little overrated, but he's a good defender. We haven't even seen Kyle Kuzma yet. We don't know what he brings to the table. We don't know.
Kyle Kuzma's a terrible defender, Dave.
I understand that, but he has worked extremely hard. And by the way, I'm going to go on the record and tell you, out of the entire Pelicans trade that happened for AD, the Lakers kept the best out of that bunch. It's Kyle Kuzma. So figuring that they kept Kyle Kuzma, I think the Lakers are not going to be a surprise team. I think people are expecting the Lakers to be pretty good. When you got LeBron James and you've got Anthony Davis, and you should have had DeMarcus Cousins, and then we would have been talking about a totally different thing. But this team is not going to creep up on anybody. They are expected to be what they're going to be. I say give the time to the Lakers. I'm sure load management will be something that will be said a lot this year, whether it be the Clippers or the Lakers. I'm sure load management will be a big deal. But as far as the Lakers are concerned, I don't want to make this a Lakers show. They're not going to creep up on anybody. They're going to be pretty solid. I like the way what they've done.
Yeah, I'm not saying they're going to be bad. Let me just clarify that. I mean, we're going to make the playoffs, I hope, for the first time in 7 years, knock on wood. But let's not get carried away because we've been to this rodeo before. We've seen it ever since Kobe's later years, ever since Dwight Howard's first time on the Lakers. That team was supposed to blow the doors off of the league. And they didn't. They barely made the playoffs and got swept in the first round after Kobe tore his Achilles. I mean, granted, that's a different time. That was a different league.
Look, you make a valid point, and I get that. I get what you're saying. But Steve Nash went down. Dwight Howard had back surgery the year before. There's a lot of different things. Now they got AD. They've got LeBron. In my opinion, and I'll go on the record again, the best duo in the NBA. I don't care what anybody has to say. You could say Kawhi and PG. I don't really care. I think LeBron and Anthony Davis is the best duo in the NBA, and they're going to prove it. They're going to show you.
Dave, I have no problem with that on the offensive end. LeBron on the defensive end is non-existent. We have to admit that. We have to be frank with ourselves. Self-awareness is a gift that a lot of people don't have, and I might sound like the crazy guy right now, but when we're looking at the team and we're looking at the standings come Christmas and the Lakers haven't cracked the top 5 of the league or the Western Conference, I think the three-point defense is going to be the reason why. And I also think that as far as shooting is concerned, yeah, we added a few shooters. You look at Danny Green, he's a good perimeter shooter. Who else you got that you can reliably count on to hit three-pointers consistently? Anthony Davis can shoot threes, not at a high clip. LeBron James is not going to be a spot-up shooter. Avery Bradley, that's not his game. Rajon Rondo, are you kidding me? I mean, Kentavious Caldwell-Pope,
Well, it goes back to what you said earlier. You know, they're going to be an inside basketball team, and you're probably right. They are going to spend a lot of time on the inside because.
But Dave, if you
can't
really
have a shooter.
Dave, if you can't space the floor, your inside game is dead because they're just going to go ahead and double team Anthony Davis every time he touches the ball, double team LeBron James every time he touches the ball. Outside of those two guys, who's going to shoot the ball? That's what I'm concerned about.
Well, they need to probably bring up some clips of the 2000 to 2002 Lakers where they didn't have really 3-point shooting either. So I want to watch a little bit of that.
But if you have you ever read any of Phil Jackson's books?
I have.
What does he always preach? He always preaches spacing. That's what the triangle offense was predicated on, and the success of that offense was predicated on spacing, and I don't see it with this team. That's my concern. Again, let me clarify. They're going to be a very good basketball team. They are not, in my opinion, a top 3 team in the league, though.
I agree with you. I don't have them as a top 3 either. So,
all right. So with that, Dave, I have a couple of bold predictions. I just made one that the Lakers were not going to be top 3 this year.
Okay.
But I'll let you go ahead and make your first bold prediction. Go ahead.
Well, if you've been paying attention to me from the last segment, you'll know that I'm real high on the Denver Nuggets. And I'm going to make the biggest prediction of all. The Denver Nuggets are going to make the Western Conference Finals. That's my prediction. They are going to make the Western Conference Finals.
That's such a safe pick.
It's impossible for you to say that's a safe pick because what's expected in the Western Conference Finals is the chance that Golden State runs amok and really destroys everyone. The Lakers and Clippers actually make the Western Conference Finals and becomes really exciting. And the Houston Rockets have a lot to say. For me to say the Denver Nuggets are the team that's going to make the Western
Whoa. Time out. You still think the Warriors are that good of a team?
I will never count out the Warriors, period.
So you're telling me
I can't name anybody outside of their starting 5, but I'm not counting out the Warriors in anything. A healthy Clay changes the game.
But they're not going to have Clay for the majority of the year.
That's okay. They make the playoffs and Clay's back. They're the most dangerous team in the playoffs. But that's not my bold prediction. My bold prediction is the Denver Nuggets are making the Western Conference Finals. So in some sort of fashion, the Denver Nuggets are either knocking off the Clippers, the Rockets, the Warriors, the Blazers, you can name them. I don't want to go through all of my list of who I got in the playoffs, but they're making the Western Conference Finals. I'm letting you know right now. This is a team that made it to the second round. They're going to move one more up and get to the third round.
All right. I got 2 bold predictions. I'm going to share one now, and when we do our award predictions, I'm going to share my second one.
Okay.
You already brought it up. You touched on it. We've been harping on it since the end of last year. I agree that Mike D'Antoni will be fired before the end of the year. That's a safe assumption, right?
That's safe, all right.
But I think he's going to be fired before the calendar is turned to 2020. He is going to be fired while the calendar still reads 2019. I think that's bold, right?
I mean, it's not that bold. I mean, I said it in my prediction. I mean, the team that I wanted to see if he'll even make it through the year, but that's a bold prediction. Yeah, it's okay.
I don't think he's going to even make it halfway through.
You're still pretty safe. Why don't you tell us the other one? Or you want to tell us now?
Well, I'm going to tell you when we talk about our award predictions.
Okay.
That one you're really going to.
I'll make one more bold prediction that has nothing to do with teams. Bradley Beal will be traded by the trade deadline.
I think again that's very safe. I'll tell you what. I'll go even one more further. I think at least 5 coaches will be fired before 2020.
Whoa.
Yeah. I think Mike D'Antoni is going to be gone. Billy Donovan's going to be gone. Let's see who the other 3 will be here. Who's running it in Sacramento?
Luke Walton. He just signed a brand new deal.
Walton. Okay, never mind. They already fired the last guy. Never mind. I'll get back to you on who the other 3 are, but I think there are going to be some quick trigger fingers this year. I'm just making this up as I go. I'm being totally honest with you guys right now. But you heard it here first. My gut feeling, 5 guys, 5 coaches out of the job before the calendar reads 2020. I might be wrong, but it's a bold prediction. And if we went with all these safe predictions, it wouldn't be a bold prediction segment. So there you go, folks. Giving the people what they want. Dave, we are now going to talk about our end of season predictions. But before we do that, we need the folks watching us on YouTube, if they haven't done so already, right down there, hit that subscribe button, hit the bell notification icon so that you can hear us, watch us before anyone else. Dave, they can't mess this up. They have to hit that subscribe button. They got to hit the bell notification icon. I mean, you hit the bell notification icon. When we drop a video, what does your phone say?
You got it. You got to you hit that button, everyone. If you haven't hit that button yet, hit it now.
Yeah, if you haven't hit it, what are you doing with your life? Anyways, Dave, it is time to move on. We are going to predict the end of season awards. Just to refresh folks' memories, those end of season awards are, and this is the order we're going to go in, the executive of the year, the coach of the year, most improved player of the year, defensive player of the year, NBA Sixth Man of the Year award, rookie of the year award, and most valuable player award. Dave, go ahead. Start us off with your coach of the year.
You sure you want me to start, or would you like to start this time?
You know what? Fine. I'll go first. We'll start with executive of the year. I'll give my executive. You give your executive. We'll go improve. You know, we'll go one award at a time.
All right.
My executive of the year. It's going to be hard for him to do this, but I'm going to go with David Griffin. New Orleans Pelicans. You touched on it. He did a great job of not getting his pants pulled down in that Anthony Davis deal. Collected a lot of assets, collected a lot of young players, and he set that team up to not only be somewhat competitive in the near future, but to be flexible in the long term so that they can do big things when these players start to mature. You got that young Zion Williamson. I told you guys that I wasn't as high on him as a lot of people have been, but looking at what he's done in the preseason, he may be a bit of a handful for teams to handle. I think he's going to get figured out pretty easily. But this is not about Zion Williamson. This is about what the Pelicans have done as a whole. That team can't really shoot outside of J.J. Redick, but if they put things together, David Griffin's going to look like a genius. What do you think, Dave?
I like David. I like that pick. In fact, I probably can't argue with you about David Griffin at all because I've already touched on what the Pelicans did. But you got to go with the team that will make the biggest improvement from last year to this year. That was the 8th place team in the Western Conference last year. Now going to probably be in the top 5, top 4. The NBA Executive of the Year, and he's going to have to share it with the great Jerry West, is Lawrence Frank. He's going to have to. I mean, the fact of the matter is they did so many good things. People forget. They traded and got Ivica Zubac, who I love, by the way. Ivica Zubac, they got him last year, and they signed him to a nice contract. They brought back Patrick Beverley to a nice contract. They have the best 6 men in the game. Actually, 2 of them, Lou Williams and Montrezl Harrell. They traded for Maurice Harkless, but nobody even realized that they've done. They've drafted extremely well. They made trades. Part of the trade that they made with the Sixers was Shamet, and Shamet is a very good basketball player. And of course, you got the NBA Finals MVP, Kawhi Leonard, and a runner-up in the MVP conversation in PG. You know, you can't discount what the Clippers did, and that's one of the reasons why they're going to make a very good run in these playoffs. So Lawrence Frank shares it with Jerry West. That's my NBA Executive of the Year. I don't think you can argue that.
Again, you're right. I think that's the easy way out. I got a little creative at least, but you're right. I can't.
I was going to go David Griffin, but since you did it, I decided.
Sure you were. Sure you were. Of course you were.
That's fine.
All right. Whatever. All right. So you want to start with Coach of the Year?
My coach of the year, and I touched on it earlier, Quinn Snyder, the most underrated coach there is in the league. Of course, he was a toss-up with Mike Malone, but Mike Malone is already known as having a really good basketball team. But I think Quinn Snyder puts the Utah Jazz over the top. He's definitely qualified. He's definitely one of the best. He's been overlooked the entire time. I think Quinn Snyder is the guy.
Well, you actually kind of ruined it for me because my guy was Mike Malone. And I think he kind of got beaten to the punch by Mike Budenholzer last year from Milwaukee. That team was really good, but what Mike Malone did, a lot of that team is actually successful because of Mike Malone and his offensive system. He plays a much bigger part than a lot of other coaches in the league do in what their team does on the floor. So that's why I think Mike Malone will probably get to it this year. They'll probably want to give it to him as a make up for last year for him not getting it. But it's hard to argue with Mike Malone and what he does for that team. He's a very valuable part of what that team does, running their offense through Nikola Jokic, having that defensive ability, the ability to stop other teams from scoring and doing what they do on the offensive end. It's an excellent coaching job by Mike Malone and that staff. Yeah, obviously you agree with that. You already brought him up, right?
Right.
All right. So we're going to move on to most improved player of the year. I am going to go first, and here are my purple and gold colored glasses that I'm looking through.
All right, here we go. Let's do it.
But if anyone's seen Avery Bradley through the preseason, and if they've heard what the coaching staff have been saying about him, it's hard to bet against him because the guy has been through some devastating injuries, had a couple years where he just was not in the right situation to succeed with his skill set. I think that the guys he has around him this year and the need that they have for him on the defensive end, where he doesn't have any offensive responsibilities. They're just like, you know what, Avery, go cover the other team's best perimeter player. He goes and does it, and he's going to look great doing it. He's going to chip in a little bit when they need him to on the offensive end. Great thing about this situation is they don't need him to very often. He is going to score when he needs to. He's going to hit open shots. He's going to slash to the basket. But his main job is shutting down the opponent's best player on the perimeter, and he does that very well. And I really, really hope that comes to fruition to him. If he stays healthy, it is going to be hard to argue about this guy winning this award.
That's a bold prediction right there. I gotta give it to you right there. That's a very bold prediction. But guess what? I hope that works out because obviously I follow the Lakers. But the team that the guy that I like, and it's a guy that obviously the Clippers had to give up. And I'm gonna try this as best as I can. Gilgeous-Alexander. I think this guy is going to get so much opportunity on an okay basketball team, the OKC Thunder. He's going to be a shooting guard. He's going to play alongside Chris Paul. Chris Paul is going to give him the ball. They're really going to need a lot of his offense. And I think this kid's going to shine. I just think he's going to be really, really good. I don't think the Clippers wanted to give him up. But if you have to trade for Paul George, that's the guy you're going to have to give up. So I think Shai Gilgeous-Alexander becomes the most improved player. He's going to be very prototypical to that guy in Indiana who's hurt. So, I mean, very close, like Oladipo, very close. I think this guy's going to be really good.
Well, his first name is Shea, but you got Gilgeous-Alexander right. I won't hold that against you. Let me throw this out here. Dwight Howard's had a really good preseason. And if he can keep his mouth shut and do what he's been doing, rebound, block shots, hit open dunks. I mean, hey, I'm the first person to tell you I still harbor not ill will, but I still harbor some bad feelings towards Dwight Howard. I'm not going to until he wins, he helps us win a championship. I'm not going to forgive him for what he did to this team. I don't know if you feel the same way, but I have been impressed by his preseason.
But he's a long shot. I mean, he's gonna play spot minutes, but I think he's humbled by where he's at, and he's humbled to be on the Lakers. And if things work out well, the Lakers could be very good if they've got two possible most improved players. But yeah, I like the choice.
All right. Well, we're gonna move on to defensive player of the year. and I'm gonna go again with my. I'm gonna go first again here, and I'm gonna keep my purple and gold colored lenses on.
Yeah, you might as well keep it for the both of us. I already know.
Well, he said he was gonna do it, right?
That's right, and I'm going to hold him to it.
Anthony Davis.
Yeah, I'm going to hold him to it. You're right.
Looking at the preseason again, I know it's preseason. It doesn't hold a lot of weight in the real world per se, but he's been killing it, man. He's been patrolling the paint. He's been blocking anything that comes in his way. And I think having JaVale McGee and Dwight Howard on the other side of the paint is going to help him a lot on the defensive end. He's going to be collecting rebounds by the bucket load, and having those guys on the floor with him, that's going to be a big part of what the Lakers do. Like I said, they're going to bully guys in the paint. They've got so much size. Again, when Kyle Kuzma comes back, you can put out a lineup where no one is shorter than 6'9", and I don't think there's any other team in the league that can do that. And that's only going to help Anthony Davis on the defensive end. You can go ahead and make your case for him too. Might as well.
No, I couldn't agree with you more. He's playing with a legitimate center. He's not asked to be playing center. He's not being asked to play center, and he's just going to get a lot of easy stuff. I mean, he's really going to find his way really quite nicely. You go in the paint, you've got a problem. I mean, if it's JaVale and Anthony Davis in that minute, you're not going to the basket. So it's going to be tough. Anthony Davis, if he said he wants to be the defensive player of the year and he's going to hold all of his teammates accountable, even LeBron James, that just means that the focus this year for the Los Angeles Lakers is defense. And I think Anthony Davis is going to be the guy who leads by example to make that Laker team play defense. I 100% agree with you, and I hope he's a true man of his word. Even though I could argue Gobert's been one of the best defensive guys. I think Draymond Green is a fantastic defender, but I'm with 2020, it's Anthony Davis.
Yeah, and a lot of guards don't win this award, but if there is a guard out there who can win it, you gotta talk about Patrick Beverley, right? He's a terrific defender, on and off the ball.
Absolutely. So,
but yeah, you guys can clearly tell who we want to win this award. So I mean, forget the other guys. We're gonna go to Sixth Man of the Year. Is there anyone else?
There is, and I'm gonna surprise you.
Go for it.
I'm gonna let you go first because I think everybody knows who you're picking.
They might as well put Lou Williams' name on the trophy. They might as well name it after him.
I mean, you're probably, you know what? I disagree with you this year. I think his role is going to be different because he's got high volume shooters on his basketball team this year. But the guy that is so under the radar, and he has yet to finalize.
Dave. We're gonna leave folks in suspense here because I need to respond to what you said. He's not gonna be spending a lot of time on the floor with those guys.
That's right.
And we talk about load management. He's the perfect person to have in that situation.
Look, I don't disagree with you, but I also think his role is going to be limited unless he's out on the floor with those guys. I don't think he's going to have the type. Look, they relied on him a lot last year. This year, they're not going to rely on him as much. They don't need all that. They're going to score anyways. I mean, this team's easy. They're going to have a whole bunch of baskets all over the place. But he's going to have a different year for him. Now, if you would have picked his counterpart, Montrezl Harrell, because he was the runner-up for the Sixth Man of the Year, I wouldn't have argued as much. But believe this or not, and you're going to be surprised, this guy that I've got still hasn't signed his extension. I'm not sure he even likes being the sixth man, but he is solid. He scored 14 points a game last year, way under the radar. He beat the Lakers last year on a buzzer beater. He played on the Sacramento Kings. His name is Bogdan Bogdanovic, and he is spectacular. He can do everything. And I think Sacramento, having him off that bench, makes them a little bit better than they were last year. But this kid, so under the radar, he's a fantastic player. I have him as the NBA Sixth Man of the Year. That's the surprise.
Well, I hope you're right because that would mean that the Clippers are not as good as everyone's expecting them to be. So
that too.
and I mean, if it means that the Kings have to be somewhat better, I mean, pick your poison, right? But I don't think anyone's going to disagree with Lou Williams. That's the first bold prediction you've made in the first two parts of this series. So I'll give it to you. Go with it.
Right.
We're heating up here, Dave. It's the penultimate award that we're going to talk about in this episode, and that's going to be the Rookie of the Year award. I think I know who you're going to pick, and I agree with you. So go.
Might as well. I mean, you might as well say his name and tell us why.
Well, now that you're saying that, we might not be talking about the same person, but I think it's going to be Ja Morant.
Whoa, yeah, we're definitely not talking about the same person.
Okay, well, I'll talk about him then. I wasn't expecting that, because in our draft recap, which I will link in the description below, if you're a longtime subscriber, you already seen it. Dave was singing Ja Morant's praises. I mean, I'm really surprised right now.
I'm still singing his praises, but I don't think he's the Rookie of the Year.
All right. Well, I mean, let's look at his situation though. He's gonna be the guy in Memphis. He is gonna be handling the bulk of that team's offense, and he's a stud. He is faster than everyone else. He's more athletic than everyone else. He can do everything, and he's going to be a star, and he's going to start doing it this year.
He's going to be, in my opinion, like the guy in Portland, the guy who's been overlooked, hasn't been picked on all-star games, hasn't been recognized. His name is Damian Lillard. I think Ja Morant is going to be like Damian Lillard. He's going to be so overlooked. He'll be in the conversation for Rookie of the Year. But if you recall, the same year Damian Lillard came out, he wasn't even in the conversation. I mean, he was in the conversation kind of, but not even, a big deal. I'm going to have to go with the most popular guy there is. And it's Zion Williamson. And I know this doesn't come as a surprise, but because of the amount of hype this guy already has, and because everyone has heralded him as the next LeBron James, and I don't believe for 1 second that Alvin Gentry doesn't try to make plays just for Zion, because he knows who pays those checks, and he knows who's the guy that's going to get the butts in the seats. He's going to make sure that Zion gets the easy dunk, the easy layup, the transition baskets, all that good stuff. Zion should be doing just fine. Do I think he's a poor man's Julius Randle? That's a different conversation. Yes, because I don't think he can knock down a jump shot worth his life. But he's not going to need to. He's going to be playing around the basket. He's going to be It's going to be the highlight reel of everything. Every night there's going to be a highlight reel of Zion Williams dunking in some sort of fashion. And he's got the perfect point guard who will do that for him. So I don't think you can blink. I don't think, we could say Zion 1, Ja Morant 2. I don't think RJ is going to really do anything. But Zion Williamson, NBA Rookie of the Year, hands down. We'll recap at the end of the year. But he's the guy, man. Believe it or not.
I think you're right that he probably might win the award off of hype alone. But you look at his shot chart. It's very centered around the basket. There have been players who have made Hall of Fame careers out of that. I'm not going to take anything away from him there. But in today's NBA, with such sophisticated defenses, on a fast-breaking team like the Pelicans are planning to be, this is going to be fun to watch. He's going to have a lot of opportunities. But what happens in those games where it's a slower tempo and they can't get out there and run, Zion Williamson eventually becomes somebody that you can't really rely on in the half court to make things happen for you. Not yet. I think what's going to happen is that even before the All-Star break, he's going to hit a bit of a wall because people are going to figure him out. He's more of a one-trick pony than people would like to realize. So that's where I am with Zion. I think Ja Morant has more tools.
Zion will get exposed on defense. Did you know what his height is after the league mandated height?
Yeah, he's 6'6".
6'6", playing power forward. That means a guy, when he has to guard Anthony Davis, he is not going to have a good day at all.
Anthony Davis will light him up. It's going to be sad to watch.
When you talk about awards, all right, usually we've gotten excited about highlight reels and scoring. Really, we don't look at anything else. And to be honest with you, Zion Williamson, and for the NBA and how much hype he already has going in, it would be hard-pressed for them to go ahead and just give it to somebody else. I would love for them to give it to somebody else. I'd love for them to give it to Cam Reddish for all I care. But Zion Williamson, probably the guy, because he's going to get a lot of easy baskets. He's going to have whole bunch of highlight reels. He's probably going to be somebody's going to be his poster at some point. I'm sure a whole bunch of people. It's tough to argue.
Look at you, Dave. Look at you. Finally making some cogent points on this show. I love it, man. I love it. You've seen the light. Welcome to the light, man. Hey, I made a promise that I was going to have another bold prediction before this show ended. And I haven't made it yet, so you guys know what's going to happen. So, Dave, I'm going to let the suspense build. Who's your MVP? You go first.
My MVP is the guy that finally will get loose to do whatever he wants. Steph Curry. Steph Curry is going to be the NBA MVP. He's been an MVP before. He doesn't have to change his game anymore. Doesn't need to stop and think about whether he's making Kevin Durant happy. Heck, you won't even need to think about Clay because Clay is not going to be there till about March, April, or anything like that. And Draymond Green really doesn't need the ball. They're going to rely on him heavily on everything. Assists, points, steals, everything. He is going to be the driving force for that team. There's really not going to be anybody. Sorry, D'Angelo, I just don't think you're that good. Steph Curry is going to have probably a season for the ages. And if he can get that team into the playoffs without Clay and no Durant, well, we know he's gone, and a bunch of guys you probably can't even name on that team and gets him into the playoffs, he deserves to be the NBA MVP. And that's who I've got. I don't think anybody else is gonna be able to challenge that.
Well, I like where you're going with that. I just don't see it happening. You're making sense. And congratulations. I mean, it took a whole season for you to finally get here.
Everyone, by the way, I mean, I want everyone to remember this is the same guy, everyone, that predicted the Knicks in making the playoffs.
Everybody knows.
He's going to talk about Porzingis and blah, 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 blah. We've heard it all before. But in all actuality, this man said the Knicks are making the playoffs. Granted, I said the Wizards are making the playoffs too. And I said the Blazers aren't going to make the playoffs. I know what I've said, but yours trumps both of those.
No, you've said a lot more outlandish things than I have. Like, there was a point last year where you had a different best big man in the game every week. So, like, we're not even going to get into that. Last year was last year. It's a new season. You're thinking straight, and I'm happy for you, all right? So, but it's time for me to give you an opportunity to call me crazy. You almost spoiled it for me, okay? But here's my MVP. He's finally going to get the recognition he deserves as one of the best players in this league. He's had an offseason where he's been running his mouth, and he needs to put up or shut up. I'm talking about Damian Lillard. Damian Lillard is going to have an incredible season. He's going to light everyone up, and he is going to, at the end of this year, be holding that MVP trophy. You can look off into space. You can say whatever you want, but I've spoken it into existence. I'm like LeVar Ball.
If only people could see my reaction when you said Damian Lillard, they probably had the same exact reaction. Are you nuts?
Why? Well, you even said that he doesn't get recognized for what he does. But he's going to take that team. Look at who he has around him. Look at who he has around him now.
Unrecognized and probably won't even be in the conversation.
Let me tell you why. There's a little bit of politics and there's a lot of on the floor stuff. The politics are this: they're not going to want to give it to LeBron, particularly after the things he had to say about the whole China situation. They're not going to want to give it to him. James Harden, Russell Westbrook, the last two MVPs, not going to happen. Giannis Antetokounmpo, they don't want to give it to guys 2 years in a row. It's not going to be him. All right. So,
I would have been impressed if you told me LeBron James or Anthony Davis, but since you didn't even go that direction and went way off into tangent somewhere, we'll just let you be.
It's a bold prediction. It's got to be bold. I had to go out on a limb.
Prediction pick here. This is facts, and you made.
Whoa, we're not talking about facts. I mean, we don't have crystal balls.
All right. You know what? We'll debate that at the end of the year.
That's fine. I mean, people are going to take that out of crystal balls. You know what, man? I think we got to end it there. We're done with this. We're done with this episode. I promised you folks things will get wild, and they did. I'm a man of my word. And when Damian Lillard is holding that MVP trophy at the end of the year, you guys are going to believe it even more. But folks, if you don't follow us on social media, Instagram at The Open Look Podcast, same on Facebook, at The Open Look Pod on Twitter. You have no excuse. It's so easy. Follow us here. Hit the subscribe button. Whether you like our show or not, we'll still make some content. You can still take a look at it. And in the comments, tell us how much you hate it. Just watch us and subscribe. I mean, it's not that hard. If you don't, what are you doing with your life? Come on, man. Hit that subscribe button. Dave, with that, we are out of here. We are going to meet you guys back at the final episode of this series where we predict our playoff seedings. For David Hanna, I'm John Halim. This has been the Open Look Podcast. We'll see you next time.